Patrick Smith with Fidelis K9 Training. Thank you for joining us this month on Bet on a Vet.
Hey, thank you for having me, sir. Appreciate it.
You came to us highly recommended, and for a variety of reasons. The most important of which I think is your canine training business. You help out veterans, which we can talk about in just a minute. But first, let me get your military background. You're a Marine?
I am a Marine. Yes. Joined in 1995, just briefly out of high school, and stayed in for roughly 8 years. That's about it. Went around the world twice and enjoyed every bit of it.
And when you got out, you started a family. You started a landscape company, and you weren't really. Have you always had a love of dogs? Did you work with dogs when you were in the military?
No, did not work with dogs in the military. Grew up with dogs and found out when I got out, helped fill the void that most honorable veterans miss when they leave their service. Not just a Marine Corps thing. I mean, I'm all about being a Marine, but it's usually all veterans, miss that camaraderie. And I found real quick that dogs filled that camaraderie for me that I missed.
Yeah, you mentioned that in an email exchange, and I did want to ask you about it. Can you expand on what you're talking about? And the dog sort of fills a void. What do you mean exactly by that?
Well, if you think about it, from the time you, as a Marine, you step on the yellow footprints and you join the Marine Corps, your life is 100% controlled. Not in a bad way, but we're told what to do, when to do it, how to do it, where to do it. And every single day of your life is very structured. And when I got out of the Marine Corps, you think when you're in the Marine Corps, like, oh, I can't wait to get out and get back to freedom and, just kind of go back to doing what you want. And then you find out you miss it. And no offense towards, if anyone listens to this, but I just found out dogs never did me dirty. And I struggled getting out of the Marine Corps and trying to find my place in the world. So I bounced around from job to job to job for a couple of months, trying to, support my young family. We've been married 26 years. And when I got out of the Marine Corps, I had one baby and one on the way. And then, within 5 years, we had 5 kids, so I bounced around and then realized I couldn't work for anyone else because I didn't feel like they had the integrity that was grinded into us. And so at that point, I decided to start a landscape company and never looked back. And right before COVID, I had an opportunity to get rid of it, but little did we know the world would shut down. And that's when I really put the dog training in high gear, because it was an essential company or whatever they called it back then. And so the health and care and well-being of an animal, I just didn't look back and started opening up our services to the everyday family, which I loved. So not just veterans now, we do it for everybody.
So it sounds like, though, you almost like backed into discovering the benefit of having a canine companion as someone who has stepped away from the military. It's like that's not why you got a dog, but you realize, it sounds like, that it was soon after getting the dog that you realized that it was filling that void that we were talking about for you.
Absolutely. My first dog was named after my favorite artist and rodeo cowboy, Chris Ledoux. So my first dog was Ledoux. During my time of, trying to be a rodeo cowboy wasn't the life of a family man. So Ledoux filled a lot of spots. Little did I know, a little over a year later, Chris would die, and here I am stuck with a dog now that was just named Ledoux, which kind of filled the void also there. And it just, one thing after another, just kept getting more and more dogs. And then as friends of mine would get back from overseas, and some friends that did not make it back from overseas, we found out that the dogs actually helped fill the void, because no matter what happened, your dog was always there for you. There's many, many, many jokes that my sense of humor probably doesn't want to have online, but dogs never go bad. They're always there for you.
Your business kind of has two aspects to it. You do train animals for veterans as therapy animals, it, it, but you also train them just for companionship and for just everyday people. When did you realize that you had a skill, or at least had a love of training dogs, and it was something that you were good enough at that you could turn it into a business?
It would probably start back in 2005 when I started hanging out with some of I believe, the best trainers in the world, and they're right here local. And I found out that it's the niche that I loved was the everyday family that needed help with their dogs. And some of the best trainers in the world, just want to deal with high level dogs. And I found that, I look at my neighborhood here, and most of my neighborhood doesn't even, they've never owned a dog before. So I found my all kind of collided when I'd be at a neighborhood park and people wanted help with their dog, and before you know it, this person needed help, that person needed help, and it kind of filled a little bit of void of feeling like I was serving and helping people that needed help. I'm not one. I don't like dog pounds. I don't like the SPCA's. Not for any other reason. It makes me sad because most people give up on their dog. We say in the dog world the cuteness factor wears off around 6 to 9 months old, and people get rid of their dog. Um, I don't believe there's bad dogs out there. I just think there's people that probably shouldn't have a dog.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, the therapeutic benefits of veterans or anybody suffering from PTSD having a dog, they're undisputable. What is it about that connection that makes that so important, so valid?
There's only one way to put it, sir, is, the dog is not everything to us. Okay. But we are everything to that dog, so that dog, they fill that void. I mean, if I go let out my two dogs right now, I have two, I guess you'd call them service dogs that could go anywhere with me. And no matter what, if you were my friend on the outside and you couldn't hang out with me, well, guess what, my dog could. So you build that bond. And we came up with, Fidelis is, the Marine Corps motto is Semper Fidelis, always faithful. So we came up with Fidelis K9. So it's a faithful dog. And it just that's where it just took off. And what I thought was a love, I've never played golf, I don't play fantasy football or any of those fun things that men do. My love was grab my dog and go hang out with my dog.
Do you have? I'm just wondering if you have a story of a veteran that you've come in contact with that you helped get a dog for it and train a dog for that you could talk about.
Absolutely. Without giving names, we have a lot of dogs out there. We get veterans that, I like to say it. We have some veterans that are sleeping in their car. We have some veterans that are very wealthy. So we have a wide range, and no matter how much money you have, the dog still will help that out. If we have a veteran that comes to us with an honorable discharge, I don't, most veterans will understand. I'm only going to bend over backwards for an honorable veteran. There's a lot of veterans out there that I believe that will just take advantage, and that's not me. That's not my circle of people. So if I have honorable veterans that are maybe down on their luck and they need a dog, the first thing I do is I have a large circle of dog people that would help us get puppies. I could make a phone call today and get a German Shepherd puppy, a Belgian Malinois, a poodle. We could get anything, and everyone wants to serve an honorable veteran. And when that does happen, we have dozens of dogs, and thank God to this FaceTime and Zoom stuff, we're able to help families of dogs all the way around the world. Our newest dog is sitting in Texas right now. With a veteran, it was a dog that was surrendered to me. We found out that this dog was a good dog. It just needed a good owner, and was able to match it with the Vietnam veteran,
Hmm.
which was special. The Vietnam veteran actually happened to be a friend of mine's dad, and it was just a blessing. And now they're You know, they left California though, unfortunately, and now sitting in Texas, and they're enjoying that dog. Um, Two of my dogs that we raised up are now with local police departments. We found out those dogs served a purpose, and so I believe if the dog has a better drive to survive outside somewhere else, I want to be able to bless those departments. I never took money for those two dogs that went to our local departments, but once again, we found out that they were a little too much, maybe for a veteran. They had the high drive, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you have to think about is some veterans that are struggling, they don't want, we can't give them a high drive dog. We like to
Right.
say that's like maybe giving them the bullet to put in their gun because it's so stressful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally understand that. So you're able to sort of match it up with whatever that veteran's kind of headspace is.
Absolutely, that's the number one thing. We get some guys, of course, as Marines, we all want like a Doberman or a Rottweiler, or, a cool dog. But there's some veterans that I know that have a poodle, because the poodle is, maybe it matches where their headspace is.
Mm-hmm. And then how do you, going back to just regular old, family dogs, are your training programs set up? Do you take the dog for 6 weeks, or is this interactive? Do the family come in and you work with the dogs and the family at the same time? How does that all shake out?
Uh, we 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 yes, we've done board and trains before, but board and train's not really what I love to do. I want to be able to have the families invested. We get a lot of people that maybe money is not an object, and they just want to pay to have their dog trained. But at the end of the day, Tom, I'm not afraid to say, Tom, this is your dog. It's not my dog.
Mm-hmm.
I need you here to invest. We have, and I invite the whole family. I don't care if the baby's 2 years old or 6 years old or 12 years old. The whole family could come, because if the whole entire family is not bought in on this dog, we have a loose cannon that, maybe husband doesn't like the dog because he doesn't put any time into the dog. And so I do believe that these dogs are a part of our family. I would love to think that, I think we're close to 2,000 clients now since COVID. I would like to
Wow.
think none of those dogs live outside. All my dogs live inside my house.
Yeah. And what are the various lengths of training, or is it all pretty uniform?
It's pretty uniform. We have what's called the School of Foundations, which is, we got that name through the School of Infantry. Being an infantry marine myself, it was, they could send their dog to school, which is they drop it off in the morning, they pick it up in the afternoon. During that day, we will start building foundations and shaping the behaviors. But then we also make them go through some private lessons where it allows us to work one-on-one with the families. And then we have group classes. Our group classes are, Tuesday through Saturday. We probably have 30 or 40 hours of group classes available for our families that they could come in and work one-on-one with. Not one-on-one. There's could be one person in there. There could be 40 people in the classroom, and it
Mm-hmm.
allows us to make a safe environment where we know all the dogs that are around, and it gives these families an opportunity to have that dog that could go everywhere with them.
This sounds fantastic. And let me ask you this, because I can see some people thinking, well, I've got to have a purebred, but that's not true. You can get, like you were talking about, the SPCA. The shelters are the last stop for a lot of animals, and man, if you can get a rescue, if you can be a hero to a rescue, uh, you can help people with those dogs too, right?
Absolutely. And usually the ones with that come from like Front Street or the Sacramento SBCA, we'll give free evaluations for those. We've done that a million times, where if you called me up and said, hey, I want to view this dog, I don't have the time to meet you down at the SBCA, but most of the SBCAs will let you have the dog for 30 days and let you see if it's the right fit. So we'll let them come down and and we'll help guide them to see if it's the right dog for them. A lot of people want a cool looking dog, but maybe that cool looking dog is not the right dog. Some of my favorite dogs we have, sir, are ugly mutts. I mean, I love them. I mean,
Yeah.
but they're great dogs. And if you really think about it, you just gave that dog hope, and the right family with the right dog is you know, all puppies are cute. I mean, I don't care what kind of dog. They're all cute when they're puppies. But if they don't get, you know, a good balanced training, they're going to be stuck out in the backyard or, you know, let out on Grant Line Road.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, just talking in this few minutes, you can feel, you can hear your passion, and what you do is win, 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 win for the pet owners, for the veterans, especially for the dogs. And I can't commend you enough for what you're doing. And it sounds like you love what you're doing. Like this is what you
I
were
feel
meant
like I'm
to do
retired.
almost. Yeah. That's the
I
best
just
way to
don't.
be, isn't it?
Yeah,
If people want to
I
get
don't.
in touch with you, either a veteran or just a family with a dog that maybe needs a little bit of work, how do they reach out?
Yeah, we have a website, Fidelis K9training.com. You can shoot us a text. You could call. It's either myself or my wife on the other end of the line. So it's 916-337-0104. We are on social media. My daughters take care of that for me because I'm not a very technology guy. So we have Instagram and Facebook. I think we have TikTok now. I'm not sure. I'm not really into all that stuff. But they're making some cool videos out there where people are like, who does that for you? I'm like, those are my kids. So that's it.
Well, man, good on you for doing this. It's great work and it's meaningful. It's important. We appreciate you taking time to join us on Bet on a Vet.
Hey, I appreciate you reaching out to me. This is way more better than me reaching. This is good. I like it. I appreciate it. Very humbled to talk to you, sir. I've been listening to you for about, I don't know, 30 years probably. So it's
I'm
been a
not
long
that
time,
old.
however long you've been there.
That's somebody else. Thank you, man. Very nice talking to you.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful day, sir.